Welcome, everyone. I'm Mary Turner, co-editor with Ted Peters of this volume in honor of Dennis Edwards' God in the Natural World. Ted has had a much larger contingent of authors to work with, and in my brief few minutes, I will focus on the Australian group of scholars that I had dealings with. First, I will mention Vicky Balabansky and Michael Trainer, biblical scholars dear to my heart because of my own discipline of biblical studies. Vicky and Michael were colleagues of Dennis at the Adelaide College of Divinity and Flinders University, Vicky from the Uniting College and Michael from Catholic Theological College, and now of the Australian Catholic University. Both are original members of the Earth Bible team founded by Professor Norm Habel here in South Australia. Vicky's entry gives voice to Earth in the letter to the Colossians and Michael in the Gospels. As a long-time friend of Dennis and fellow priest in the Adelaide Archdiocese, Michael has also written a very moving tribute in the In Memoriam. Mark Worthing is a distinguished Lutheran writer in the interface between faith and science. His entry speaks of the theology of the suffering earth, but Mark also gives hints of the deep bonds of faith and friendship existing among the members of the Australian Lutheran Roman Catholic Dialogue team, of which he and Dennis were members, as were several of us here. Stephen Downes was for many years the acting principal of Catholic Theological College and the Flinders University School of Theology, where Dennis conducted much of his research and is now also of the Australian Catholic University. Stephen is one of the most eclectic minds I know, and his entry deals with Indigenous agriculture, literature, and he gives a special plea for plant life to be included in Deep Incarnation. Anthony, or Tony Kelly, a fellow member with Dennis on the Australian Catholic Theological Association, wise sage and sometime poet, brings something of the mystic to his focus on the Eucharistic tradition, so dear to Dennis's heart and its significance for eco-theology. Julie Trinidad was one of the final PhD students whom Dennis supervised. She brings her work on Walter Casper into dialogue with Dennis's writings. It's a delight to include her work here as evidence of a new contingent of scholars working in eco-theology. I want to acknowledge also Yvonne Ashby and her lovely cover artwork. Yvonne attended several of Dennis's classes, and her work is inspired by much of Dennis's theology, and I know he loved her work, especially her colour red. My thanks also go to Dennis's niece, Michelle Thomas, for allowing us to access the text of her eulogy given at Dennis's funeral. I often heard Dennis speak lovingly of his family, and he was very proud of Michelle. As an editor, I worked closely on the ground with our publisher, Hilary Regan. I also want to offer thanks to Hilary, who responded so quickly whenever I sent him a text or email requesting a correction to the volume, the proofs. He made sure my panic was averted and I could sleep easily again. Finally, as co-editor with Ted, I would like to register our thanks to all of our contributors who are spread throughout this beautiful but vulnerable earth. Ted has had a much larger group to oversee as editor, and I offer him my grateful thanks for the great work he has done. It is a tribute to Dennis that these very busy scholars of a variety of Christian traditions have given so willingly and so generously of their time and intellectual expertise. The work provides an exciting collection of eco-theological explorations, and all of us involved in this publication hope that you will find much to reflect upon in their chapters. I personally loved reading every one of them.